John Mearsheimer wrote, "Terrorism is a tactic employed by a wide array of political groups. It is not a single unified adversary." It's the purpose of this video to discuss the strengths and weaknesses of the lone wolf and the group attack, and discuss which poses a greater threat to Australia, and also to touch on what aspects of our infrastructure are set up to defend us from such attacks. Firstly, the lone wolf attack. These can either be locally recruited or online recruited in this day and age, in most cases by people who prey upon loners and are dissatisfied. And they have a variety of strengths and weaknesses. The strengths include ease of deployment. They can be put in the field quickly and easily since there's only one of them. Minimal equipment, preparation and training required in most cases. And they do not need to coordinate with other assets because they can operate independently. Weaknesses, defence against a group. They can be overwhelmed by numbers, as happened on one of the flights of 9/11. Also, alertness and vigilance. Monas nearly fell asleep and was overwhelmed. And also being aware of what's going on. There's only one set of eyes. They can't see everything or everyone. Also, effectiveness and impact. There's only so much that one man or woman can do. And lastly, support. They don't have anybody to back them up if something goes wrong. Group attacks have the advantage of flexibility. They can take various styles, anything from the London bombings, which consisted of 4 people with backpacks, through to the 9/11, which obviously consisted of a larger group of people, to the Charlie Hebdo attack, which consisted of 2 men storming an office in Paris. Strengths can be their effectiveness. Obviously, they can have a devastating effect. For example, 9/11 changed a nation, effectively. Defence, as in attackers defending against them. Charlie Hebdo in Paris. There was a reenactment performed in Texas not long after, which demonstrated there was no chance that the defenders could have stopped the Charlie Hebdo attackers, and flexibility in the types of attacks that can be initiated. Weaknesses requires more resources. Obviously, there's more people need equipment, more people need training. Visibility and risks. The more people you have involved in an operation, the higher likelihood that one of them will make a mistake that gets the entire team captured. And coordination and training. They've got to not only learn how to perform their own individual roles, but also how to interact with others within the group in order to make sure that the operation goes as planned. Against all this, we do have some very strong defences. We're an isolated nation, so very hard for other countries to ship arms and equipment to, or other terrorist organisations to ship troops into. This very isolation helps protect us from harm in a great many ways that other nations do not enjoy the advantage of. We have an excellent military, not only our Navy that patrols our seas, but our Air Force and Army, who are designed to protect us in many ways and give us the advantage of a strong military. And also we have some extremely strict gun laws. Gun laws many protested about in the late 90s. However, these have not only dropped our crime rate, but have also dropped the access of weaponry to those who would do us harm. The shotgun that Monas carried in a Lindt cafe was a 50-year-old gun that had probably over a 50-year-old gun, which had probably been in the country since the 50s when gun laws were not quite as restrictive. So, having laid out the 2 types and discussed the defences we have, the question still remains which poses the greater threat to the Australian security priorities. Well, according to the ASIO report that was released in 2014 to Parliament, they have over 200 investigations ongoing at any one time. What the risks mentioned earlier in the group attack were that more people means more risks of being caught. And for this reason, I believe the lone wolf attack is definitely the most difficult risk for Australia, because it's harder to investigate when there's only one person plotting in their basement, so to speak, rather than the group who have a group of people who could all make mistakes. So it would definitely have to be the lone wolf attack would pose a higher risk, though we do have the advantage of being in a country that has an excellent intelligence and military community, which means that even that risk is far less than in other nations. And a thing to keep in mind too, terrorism always fails. It never changes permanently the countries that it attacks. All it does is cause fear and terror for a time, and then life goes on. Thank you for your time.